This video is about the single mom arrived at the rooftop bar and a rich stranger offered to carry her bag. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the bustling city below. It was a Friday evening, and the air was thick with the kind of anticipation that only the weekend could bring. Emily Hart, a single mom in her mid-30s, stepped out of the elevator and onto the rooftop bar, her heart racing as she adjusted her oversized bag on her shoulder. The place was lively, filled with laughter and the clinking of glasses, but Emily felt a knot in her stomach. She was out for the first time in months, and the thought of being around people was almost overwhelming. Her friend Sarah had practically dragged her out, insisting that she deserved a night off from parenting. "Just one drink, Sarah had pleaded. "You need to find yourself again. You're not just a mom." The truth was, Emily had almost forgotten how to be anything other than a caregiver. Her life revolved around her 6-year-old son, Liam, and though she loved him fiercely, the weight of her responsibilities was often crushing. As she approached the bar, the warmth of the setting sun softened her nerves, reminding her that it was okay to enjoy herself. She spotted Sarah at a table adorned with colorful cocktails, waving enthusiastically. Emily blasted on a smile, pushing the worries from her mind. "Look at you, you made it!" Sarah exclaimed, her voice a melody of excitement. "What do you want to drink? I ordered us a round of mojitos." Emily shook her head, laughing softly. "You always choose the most complicated drinks. I'll stick with a beer, thanks." After taking a seat, Emily watched the crowd, her thoughts drifting. There were couples laughing, friends having heartfelt conversations, and groups celebrating the weekend. She felt slightly out of place, but the vibrant atmosphere began to lift her spirits. As the drinks arrived, they shared laughter and stories, the connection between the two women palpable. "So tell me about the guy at the gym," Emily teased, nudging Sarah playfully. Sarah rolled her eyes, her cheeks turning slightly pink. "Though, come on, he's just a guy, not a Prince Charming. Besides, you're the one who needs a prince." Their banter was lighthearted, but a hint of anxiety crept into Emily's mind. The idea of dating felt foreign, almost intimidating. She had spent years focusing on Liam, and now the thought of opening herself up to someone new felt like trying to jump into an icy lake. "Maybe," she replied, sipping her drink while glancing around the bar. That's when she noticed him. He was tall, with tousled dark hair and a fitted navy shirt that accentuated his physique. There was an aura of confidence around him, and despite the dim lighting, his blue eyes sparkled as he laughed with a group of friends. A pain of something, was it longing? Washed over her. "Emily," to Emily. Sarah waved her hand in front of her face, and Emily blinked back to the conversation. "Sorry, what?" Emily stammered, shaking off her reverie. "I said, I'll be right back. Keep an eye on our drinks." Sarah grinned, winking before disappearing into the crowd. Left alone, Emily felt a mixture of relief and trepidation. She took a deep breath, letting the ambience stir her thoughts. She couldn't help but steal glances at the stranger again, her heart fluttering as he caught her gaze. For a split second, time seemed to stop, their eyes locked, and an electric tension filled the air. He gave a slight smile, but just as quickly he turned back to his friends, laughing at something one of them said. Emily's cheeks burned as she quickly looked down at her beer, fighting the urge to analyze the moment. Was she reading too much into a simple glance? Minutes passed before Sarah returned, a sparkle in her eye. "Did you see him? The tall guy over there?" She pointed discreetly, and Emily felt her heart race again. "Yes, I saw him," Emily admitted, trying to sound casual, but her voice betrayed her excitement. "Go talk to him. What is the worst that could happen?" Sarah urged, her enthusiasm infectious. Emily shook her head vehemently. "No way. What do I even say? Hi, I am a single mom, and I am here for a night off." "Why not? You're fantastic. Just be yourself," Sarah encouraged, nudging her. Standing on the edge of her comfort zone, Emily took a long sip of her drink, contemplating her friend's words. The idea of approaching him felt as monumental as scaling a mountain, yet a part of her craved the adventure. "What is stopping you?" Sarah asked, sensing her hesitation. Emily sighed, glancing back at the stranger. "What if he is not interested? Or worse, what if he is and I make a fool of myself?" Sarah rolled her eyes, exasperated yet amused. "I'll never know until you try. Besides, look at him, he is way out of your league." Her heart sank slightly at the comment, but she chuckled, knowing it was meant as encouragement. "Maybe you're right, or maybe I'll just enjoy my drink and people watch like a sensible adult." "Boring," Sarah giggled, but her playful jab ignited a small spark of resolve in Emily. As the night unfolded and the stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, Emily found herself stealing glances at the stranger more frequently. With every laugh shared and drink enjoyed, she felt a growing sense of daring. Perhaps she could muster the courage to speak to him. Just as she gathered her thoughts, the stranger stood up from his table, excusing himself from the group. He made his way toward the bar, and Emily's heart raced as he drew closer. "Excuse me," he said, his voice deep and warm as he approached her. "I couldn't help but notice you were sitting alone. Mind if I join you?" The invitation felt like a gentle nudge, and Emily's breath caught in her throat. Sure, I mean, if you want to." He smiled, a genuine, disarming smile that sent another wave of warmth through her. "I am Jake," he introduced himself, extending his hand. "Emily," she replied, shaking his hand, feeling the warmth of his grip. He gestured toward her bag. "That looks heavy. Do you want me to carry it for you?" Emily laughed lightly, feeling a flutter in her chest. "I think I can manage it, but thanks for the offer." "No, really, I insist. You shouldn't have to carry that around while trying to enjoy yourself," he responded, his eyes filled with sincerity. A small part of her wanted to push back, to assert her independence, but another part that had long been buried under the weight of motherhood and responsibility was charmed by his gesture. "All right, if you insist," she relented, handing him the bag. As he took it, their fingers brushed against each other, sending a jolt through her. Emily's heart raced as they moved to a small table tucked away from the crowd. "So, what brings you to this rooftop bar?" Jake asked, a playful glint in his eye as he took a seat across from her. "I am here for a break. My friend convinced me I needed a night out," Emily admitted, feeling the sudden tension in the air, a mixture of nerves and excitement swelling between them. "Break from what?" he inquired, genuine curiosity etched across his handsome face. Emily hesitated, weighing how much to share. "I am a single mom, so sometimes it is nice to step away, you know?" "Absolutely," he said, nodding with understanding. "I can only imagine how tough that must be. What is your son's name?" "Liam," she replied, a smile breaking through. "He has 6 and full of energy." Jake chuckled softly. "I bet he keeps you on your toes." "You have no idea," Emily said, her heart lightening as they found a rhythm in their conversation. "What about you? What do you do?" "I am in real estate, mostly commercial properties," he answered, his tone shifting to one of casual confidence. "It can be a bit cutthroat, but I enjoy it." The conversation flowed effortlessly, intertwining their lives through stories and shared laughter. For the first time in a long while, Emily felt a flicker of hope, a sense of possibility hanging in the air between them. Yet as she spoke, a new wave of doubt washed over her. Was it truly appropriate to flirt with this handsome stranger? Would he even be interested in someone like her, a single mother with a complicated life? As if sensing her thoughts, Jake leaned in slightly, his expression earnest. "You know, I am really glad I approached you. You have this warmth about you that is hard to ignore." Emily's heart skipped a beat, the tension thickening. She found herself leaning forward, captivated by the connection they were forming. "Thank you, that is really sweet of you to say." Just then, Sarah reappeared, a mischievous grin plastered across her face. "Oh, look at you two, getting cozy already?" Emily felt a rush of heat flood her cheeks, both from embarrassment and excitement. Emily's heart raced as she felt the heat of embarrassment flood her cheeks. Jake arched an eyebrow, an amused smile playing on his lips as he glanced between the two women. "Cozy might be one way to put it," he replied, his voice smooth like velvet, causing Emily's stomach to flutter. Sarah leaned against the bar, a victorious grin on her face. "I'll take that as a win," she teased, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Emily, this is Jake. Jake, this is my best friend, Emily." "Nice to meet you," Jake said, his gaze lingering on Emily, igniting another spark of chemistry between them. "Likewise," she managed, feeling a mixture of excitement and vulnerability. She wondered if Sarah could see the way Jake's eyes made her skin tingle, or if it was just her imagination conjuring up the thrill of possibility. "So, what is your story, Jake?" Sarah asked, her interest piqued. "You've managed to charm my friend without even trying." "You're just lucky, I guess," he said, glancing back at Emily. "But I am still listening to her talk about Liam. Sounds like she has got her hands full." Emily smiled at the mention of her son, a warmth spreading through her. "He is a handful, but I wouldn't trade him for the world. He fills my life with so much joy even if he keeps me busy." "Busy is good," Jake replied, leaning in slightly, the intimacy of the moment making her pulse race. "I admire anyone who can juggle life like that." A small part of her wanted to share all the challenges, the sleepless nights, and the little victories of motherhood. But another part felt the weight of judgment lurking in the shadows. What if he found her mundane? Or worse, what if he saw her as just a single mom? Sometimes I feel like I am just a circus act, she confessed lightly, trying to keep the mood buoyant. Like I am just one misstep away from dropping everything. Maybe it's more like a balancing act, Jake said, his gaze unwavering. You're doing it well, you're here enjoying a night out, that takes courage. Emily held his gaze, feeling a swell of emotion. Thanks, Jake, honestly, tonight is a big step for me, I needed this. At that moment they shifted slightly. Jake's expression softened, and she could see a flicker of understanding in his eyes. I am glad you took that step, everyone deserves a break. Sarah, sensing the shift, chimed in, all right, I am going to grab us some more drinks, you two stay here and get to know each other better. Emily shot her a grateful look as Sarah disappeared into the crowd, leaving her with Jake. The moment felt charged, and Emily fought the urge to overthink it. So, what do you like to do when you're not being an amazing mom? Jake asked, his voice inviting. Emily hesitated for a moment. Well, before Liam, I used to love hiking and traveling. Now, I rarely have the chance to do either. I get that, he said, nodding. But you should find some time for yourself, even if it's just a small hike around here. She chuckled softly, appreciating how he seemed to genuinely care. Maybe one day soon, that it's just hard to carve out time. I am still trying to figure out how to balance everything. Jake leaned closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. You need to make it a priority. Life is too short to always prioritize responsibilities over joy. His words resonated with her, and she felt a flutter of hope. I wish I could be more spontaneous. I've forgotten what it feels like to be free. Then let us change that, he suggested, his eyes glimmering with excitement. How about I take you out next week, a real break? Her heart leaped at the invitation, yet uncertainty crept in. Do you really mean that? I don't want you to feel obligated because I am a single mom. Jake shook his head, his expression earnest. Not at all. I am drawn to you, Emily. You're fascinating, not just because you're your mom, but because you're you. Emily's breath caught in her throat. The sincerity in his voice sent her pulse racing, a mix of exhilaration and fear. What was she doing? Did she really want to open this door? She started, but before she could finish, Sarah returned with their drinks, a knowing smile plastered across her face. Did I miss something juicy? She asked, eyebrows raised. Emily shot her a look that was part warning, part plea for discretion. We were just talking about hiking, she said quickly, hoping to redirect the conversation. Though hiking sounds thrilling, Sarah teased, taking a seat beside them. So, Jake, any plans for the weekend? Jake glanced between the two women, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. I was thinking about exploring some new trails. Care to join me, Emily? Emily felt the heat of anticipation swirl in her stomach, but she also sensed Sarah's curious gaze. That sounds great, she said, forcing a smile even as uncertainty loomed. Perfect. Jake replied, a boyish excitement lighting up his features. As they talked, Emily felt the tension between her desire for adventure and her responsibilities as a mother. She couldn't shake the feeling of guilt creeping in. What would Liam think if she started dating? Would he feel like he was losing her? I should probably check in with Liam before we make plans, she said, trying to sound nonchalant but failing miserably. Of course, do what you have to do, Jake replied, his tone understanding. Family comes first. But as she reached for her phone to text her babysitter, she felt a pang of regret. What if she was letting fear dictate her choices? Anything you want to say to him? Jake asked, his voice gentle. Emily chuckled to ease her nerves. Just telling him I am okay and I'll be home soon. You know, the usual mom check-in. Jake nodded, his expression softening as he watched her. You're a good mom, Emily. I admire that. His words stirred something deep within her. Thank you, it means a lot to hear that. As she sent the message, the air around them seemed to vibrate with unspoken tension. Jake leaned closer, his gaze unwavering. You can have both, Emily. You can be a great mom and still make room for yourself for fun. But can I? She challenged softly, her heart pounding. What if I fail at both? Then you try again. That is life. It is messy but beautiful, he replied, his voice firm yet tender. Let me show you how beautiful it can be. The sincerity in his eyes sent her breath hitching. Emily felt drawn to him in a way that both thrilled and terrified her. I don't want to be a distraction for you, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. You're not a distraction, he insisted. You're inspiring, and I want to be part of your world. Before she could respond, Sarah cleared her throat, cutting through the moment. "All right, enough of this deep talk. Let us celebrate. Drinks." Emily chuckled, grateful for the interruption. She felt the weight of her insecurities and fears lift, if only a little. Jake's presence was intoxicating, and she found herself wanting more. As the evening progressed, the chemistry between them simmered, an undeniable tension crackling in the air. Each laugh, each shared glance felt charged with promise, yet Emily couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the edge of something significant. "Next week, then?" Jake asked, his eyes searching hers, holding a glimmer of hope. "Next week," Emily confirmed, feeling a spark of excitement. Maybe stepping out of her comfort zone was worth the risk. As they raised their glasses in a toast, she felt the thrill of possibility wash over her. Perhaps a new chapter was beginning, one where she could be both Emily the adventurous woman and Emily the devoted mother. And with that thought, she smiled, allowing herself to indulge in the moment, one sip at a time. The evening air was growing cooler, the city lights twinkling like stars as Emily and Jake continued their conversation. Each laugh they shared felt like a thread weaving them closer together, but a part of her still felt the weight of her responsibilities tugging at her heart. "So, do you always charm women at bars?" Emily asked playfully, trying to sound casual as the cocktails flowed and laughter filled the air. She could feel the playful banter igniting the space between them, but doubt lingered just beneath the surface. Jake chuckled, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Only the intriguing ones. You caught my eye from across the bar. I had to take my shot." He leaned back slightly, his posture relaxed, but his gaze steady on her. Intriguing. The word resonated with Emily. It was a compliment she'd never really considered she deserved. She felt a rush of warmth and confidence at the idea that this handsome man found her captivating. "What about you? Is this your usual Friday night routine?" she countered, biting her lip to suppress a smile. He smirked, clearly enjoying the playful exchange. "Not exactly. Usually I am stuck in the office or attending some boring gala. This is much better." His eyes flickered with sincerity, and for a moment Emily felt the truth in his words. "Are you saying I'm more entertaining than a gala?" she teased, raising an eyebrow. "Absolutely," he replied, his voice low and filled with warmth. "You have this light about you that's hard to ignore." Emily's heart raced at his words. It felt surreal to be in this moment, sharing an intimate conversation with someone so effortlessly charming. Yet doubt lingered. What if he only saw her as a fleeting spark before moving on to someone less complicated? Before she could spiral into self-doubt, Sarah returned with a fresh round of drinks, her eyes glinting with mischief. "So, what did I miss? Were you two planning a secret getaway without me?" "Just some friendly conversation," Emily said quickly, her cheeks warming slightly. She was grateful for Sarah, who could sense when to interject and when to let moments breathe. "Friendly? I am not buying it," Sarah teased, leaning in closer to Emily. "You two have the chemistry of a rom-com. I half expect you to break into song any moment." Jake laughed, but his gaze remained fixed on Emily. "I guess it is just the magic of this place," he said, his voice smooth and inviting. "Or maybe it is just the mojitos." Emily chuckled, feeling the tension ease slightly. "You could be onto something there." As they sipped their drinks, Emily felt a flicker of something deeper building between her and Jake, a magnetic pull that both thrilled and terrified her. But each time she caught his gaze, she battled the voices in her head whispering fears of rejection and inadequacy. Chatter around them faded, their laughter blending into the background as they shared stories and experiences, weaving a tapestry of connection. Jake spoke of his adventures in the real estate world, the high-stakes deals, and the satisfaction of building something from the ground up. "I love the chase," he admitted, his eyes lighting up. "It is like a game. You find a property, you analyze the potential, and then it is all about convincing the owner. It is exhilarating." Emily admired his passion. "That sounds intense. Do you ever get tired of it?" she asked, genuinely curious. "Sometimes," he admitted, his tone shifting to something more reflective. "But it is what I love. It is my way of leaving a mark, you know." She nodded slowly, appreciating the depth in his words. It was a reminder that everyone had their own battles, their own narratives. "I get that. I think being a mom is my way of leaving a mark," she replied, her voice softer. "Even though it's not always easy." Jake leaned in, his expression earnest. "You are doing a great job, Emily. I can see it in the way you talk about Liam. You care so much." It was a simple statement, but it hit home. Emily felt a swell of emotions well up inside her. "Thank you. I worry that I am not enough sometimes, like I am stretched too thin." Jake's gaze softened. You're doing more than enough. You're here, balancing everything, and it's clear that you love your son wholeheartedly. That is what matters. His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace, and for a moment, she let herself bask in the comfort of his understanding. But just as quickly, doubt crept back in. But what if I can't find a balance? What if I lose myself in being a mom? What if I can't date someone like you? Someone who has friends? Emily, Jake interrupted gently, his voice steady yet firm. You're not losing yourself. You're rediscovering parts of you that have been waiting to be unleashed. The way he spoke felt like a balm to her worries, and she smiled, a mixture of gratitude and hope swelling in her chest. But before she could respond, Sarah piped up again, her eyes twinkling with mischief. Okay, but can we talk about how good you both look together? She said, wiggling her eyebrows like a mischievous fairy godmother. You do make a stunning couple. Emily felt her cheeks flush, and she shot Sarah a warning glance. This isn't tea set up, sir. We were just talking. Jake laughed, his demeanor relaxed. Honestly, I don't mind the idea of being a couple, Sarah. Emily is pretty fantastic. Emily as Beth caught at his words. Could she dare to dream of something more? She took a sip of her drink, feeling the familiar warmth of the alcohol mixed with the thrill of possibility. But uncertainty lingered, gnawing at her. Let us just take it slow, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. We'll see how things go. Jake nodded, a slight smile on his face. I can do slow, but I am not letting you get away easily. There was a teasing edge to his voice, and Emily felt a flutter in her stomach. I wouldn't have it any other way, she replied, biting her lip to hide her smile. The night wore on, and the atmosphere around them shifted from casual conversation to something more charged, more intimate. The way Jake looked at her made her heart race, and she couldn't help but lean in closer, drawn to him like a moth to a flame. Still, doubt lingered in the back of her mind. What if he wasn't serious? What if he was simply looking for a fleeting connection? Just as she was about to voice her thoughts, Jake's phone buzzed on the table, breaking the moment. He glanced at the screen, a flicker of annoyance crossing his features. Sorry, just work. I'll be quick. As he typed a response, Emily felt a pang of disappointment. She knew he had a life beyond this, and the reality of their differing worlds settled in. Would he still be interested once the night wore off? Jake finished the message, looking back at her with an apologetic smile. Sorry about that. Duty calls. It's okay, I get it, Emily replied, trying to mask the unease creeping in. Work is important. Are you sure? He asked, his brow furrowed. I don't want you to think I am not paying attention. This is important to me. Her heart fluttered at his concern, but doubt gnawed at her again. I want to make sure we were both on the same page. I don't want to waste your time, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake leaned closer, his eyes searching hers. Emily, you were not a waste of time. You were a breath of fresh air in my chaotic life. I want to get to know you, all of you. The sincerity in his tone washed over her like a gentle wave, and she felt her walls begin to crumble. But just as she leaned in to respond, Sarah returned with a triumphant grin and a fresh round of drinks. Okay, I might have gotten us some shots, she announced, holding up the vibrant glasses like trophies. To new adventures. Emily laughed, the earlier tension momentarily lifting as they toasted to spontaneity and friendship. Yet, as the drinks were consumed, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the precipice of something significant, something that could unravel her carefully constructed life. But as she glanced at Jake, his eyes sparkling with mischief, she made a choice. Perhaps it was time to let go of her fears to embrace the uncertainty of life. After all, wasn't that what she wanted? To rediscover herself, to feel alive again? With each shared drink and laughter, she felt herself inch closer to him, feeling a magnetic pull that felt both thrilling and terrifying. And for the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to hope for something more than just a night out, but a chance at a new beginning. As the night wore on, the rooftop bar became a tapestry of laughter, whispered secrets, and promises. Emily felt the weight of her responsibilities lift, even if just for a moment, and she surrendered to the magic of the evening, letting herself be swept away by the possibilities that lay ahead. As the laughter from Sarah and Jake echoed around them, Emily felt herself caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Each sip from her drink seemed to ignite a spark of excitement inside her, a feeling she hadn't experienced in years. But with every laugh, a whisper of doubt lingered, reminding her of the responsibilities waiting at home. Here's to new adventures. Sarah cheered, raising her shot glass high before downing the vibrant liquid with a delighted grimace. Jake followed suit, his gaze flitting between the two women, a knowing smile on his lips. Can tea let you to outshine me, he teased, tilting his head back to join them in the celebratory toast. Emily couldn't help but smile, the warmth of the moment settling around her like a comforting cloak. Cheers, she said, her voice buoyed with newfound confidence. As the potent alcohol coursed through her, she felt a daring flicker ignite within her, pushing the worries aside, if only temporarily. So, she began, her playful tone returning. What is the wildest thing you've ever done, Jake? Let us see if you can keep up with us. Jake leaned back, his dark hair falling slightly over his forehead as he considered her question. Well, I once went skydiving on a whim, jumped out of a plane just because a friend dared me. Seriously? Emily's eyes widened. That's impressive. I don't think I could do it. Why not? It's about letting go, he replied, his expression earnest. You should try it sometime. It's exhilarating. While a part of her craved that kind of thrill, another part felt a tug of reality. I don't think I could leave Liam for that long. He's my priority. Jake nodded, understanding flickering in his gaze. I get it, but even superheroes need a break from saving the world, he said, his tone light yet sincere. You deserve to feel alive too, Emily. His words settled deep within her, a gentle reminder that her desires mattered. You're right, she admitted, her voice softer. I need to remember that I can be more than just a mom. Exactly. Jake leaned forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. And I am here to help you rediscover that. At that moment, the air between them shifted, thickening with unspoken tension. Emily felt her heart race, the pull of attraction growing stronger. Just as she was about to respond, Sarah interjected, her voice playful and teasing. Okay, lovebirds, let us not get too serious. How about a game, truth or dare? Emily shot her a playful glare, but the challenge sparked something in her. All right, I am in, she said, her heart pounding with anticipation. Jake raised an eyebrow, intrigued. I am game. You go first, Em. Fine, truth, she declared, feeling the rush of adrenaline course through her. Bogey. Sarah tapped her chin, a mischievous glint in her eyes. What's the most outrageous thing you've done since becoming a mom? Emily hesitated, biting her lip as the memories flooded her mind. Well, I did sneak out to a concert a few months back. It was my first time leaving Liam overnight. See? That is wilder, Sarah said, her enthusiasm infectious. You were getting there. Jake chuckled, his gaze steady on her. I am impressed. You've got a rebellious streak. Maybe, Emily replied, a smile tugging at her lips. But it was terrifying. I felt like I was betraying him. Not at all. You deserve fun, too, he reassured her, the warmth of his gaze wrapping around her like a cozy blanket. You turn, Jake. Sarah prompted, her eyes gleaming with mischief. Jake fell for a moment. Truth, I suppose, he said, a playful smirk surfacing. What is the last romantic thing you did? Sarah asked, leaning in with interest. He mused, his gaze flickering to Emily before returning to Sarah. I took a girl to a fancy dinner after she had a rough week. Just wanted to make her feel special. Emily felt a twinge of jealousy at the thought of Jake with someone else, but she quickly brushed it aside. That is sweet. You were romantic at heart. He caught her eye, a spark igniting between them. I believe in making the people I care about feel cherished, he replied, his tone sincere. As the game continued, Emily felt the barriers between them slowly dissolving, creating an intimacy that was both thrilling and vulnerable. The laughter flowed freely, mixed with flirtation as they took turns staring each other to do silly things, each challenge revealing a little more of their personalities. Okay, dare, Emily said confidently, feeling bold. Text a funny emoji to your ex, Sarah suggested, her grin wide. Emily hesitated, but laughter bubbled up. Fine, but I am blaming you if he thinks I am crazy. She quickly sent the message a winking emoji followed by the monkey covering its eyes. Jake burst into laughter. You be brave, I like that. Your turn, Emily said, her eyes glinting. Dare or truth? Dare, he replied without hesitation. I dare you to flirt with the bartender, she said, pointing to a woman who was mixing drinks. Jake flashed a confident grin. Easy, watch and learn. He stood up, sauntering to the bar with an air of charm that made Emily's heart race. As he leaned over the bar, exchanging playful banter with the bartender, a thread of envy twisted in her stomach. She watched the way he smiled, the effortless confidence radiating from him, and she couldn't help but wonder how this man had appeared in her life just when she needed him most. When he returned, a satisfied smirk on his face, Emily crossed her arms playfully. Impressive, I can see you in your element. Jake leaned closer, his voice slow and teasing. but I only have eyes for one woman tonight. He'd flooded her cheeks, and she felt a surge of exhilaration at his words. Oh really? And who might that be? He tilted his head, those striking blue eyes locked onto hers. A beautiful single mom who deserves to be spoiled rotten. Flattery will get you everywhere, she replied, her heart racing. Good to know, he said, his gaze lingering. Just then, Sarah nudged Emily, a conspiratorial look in her eyes. You two are practically glowing. I'd say it's time for another round. Absolutely, Emily exclaimed, taking a sip from her drink as Sarah ordered more shots. The rhythmic beat of the music pulsed through her, and she felt her inhibitions fade with each passing moment. As the drinks flowed, she noticed Jake leaning closer, his shoulder brushing against hers. The simple contact sent shivers coursing through her, igniting a part of her that had long been dormant. Tell me more about Liam, Jake said, his tone softening. What is he into these days? Emily felt a warmth spread through her, grateful for his genuine interest in her life. He is obsessed with dinosaurs right now. He loves watching documentaries and pretending to be a paleontologist. Jake's eyes sparkled with delight. That is awesome. If you need a babysitter, I'd love to help him dig for fossils in the backyard. She laughed, feeling the lightness of the moment. I'd have to clear that with his team first. Fair enough, he said, chuckling. But seriously, you are doing a great job, Emily. I can tell he is lucky to have you as a mom. His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace, melting away the earlier doubts. Thank you, she replied, her voice earnest. It means a lot to hear that. As the night wore on, the laughter transformed into deeper conversations, their words weaving an intricate dance of vulnerability and connection. But as the clock crept toward midnight, Emily felt the weight of reality settle back in. I really should get home soon, she said, glancing at her phone. Liam will be waking up soon. Jake's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of understanding in his gaze. Of course, family first, but I am really glad you came out tonight. You surprised me. Emily's heart swelled at his words. I am glad I did too. I needed you. He leaned forward, his voice low and intense. Next week, let us make it happen. Just you and me. No distractions. The promise in his words sent butterflies fluttering in her stomach. I'd like that, she said softly, her heart racing at the thought of a date with him. As they stood up to leave, Jake took her hand gently, the warmth of his touch igniting a rush of feelings. I'll text you, he said, his eyes searching hers. Please do, Emily replied, her voice barely above a whisper. They exchanged numbers, the thrill of anticipation hanging in the air. As she walked toward the exit, she could feel Jake's gaze on her, the electricity pulsing between them. Stepping out,